Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video I will be giving you guys another story time about that time I played the player, okay? Before I really get into it, I do want to say that this happened long ago. All is over with and done with. So if you are judgmental or you are nosy, please click out this video because this video is not for you, okay? I guess you guys can say I am putting myself on blast in this video. But this is not me. This is not who I am. This was when I was young and naive and I really thought I knew the world, but I didn't. So as most of you guys know, if you guys don't know, I had my heart completely destroyed in 11th grade, and that definitely carried over into my senior year. It actually took me about almost 2 years to get over my ex, the one that I did make a story about, my first heartbreak. You guys can check that out as well. But I just remember so in my senior year, it's supposed to be your last, whatever year of high school, and it's supposed to be fun, and you're supposed to, act like, you're grown and everything, okay? So I would always torture myself. Like, I would always be like, this is where you guys fought, this is where you guys made up, this is your spot, this is this, and this, that. I would always, torture myself like this. I know, it's sickening. Another thing that I would always do is I would always, my first thought in the morning and, the last thought before I, go to bed, I'd be like, if the druggie didn't want you, what makes you think a guy in his right mind would want you? And that's just, a sad thing to say to yourself. But I remember I was just, my self-worth was just, ugh, down in the drain, okay? But look at me now, okay? I'm just saying, okay? Anyways, so that definitely carried over, again, my whole senior year. I was, just thinking about that, and I was still very much, obsessed with my ex. So, in February, so I guess you guys can say, the second half of the school year, I went to a school dance, and afterwards, me and my friends all went out to dinner, and I was the only single one. Everyone else was coupled up, being all over each other while I'm trying to eat. Okay, that's nasty. Don't do that, okay? So, afterwards, we all go outside, and we're, standing outside in a circle, and I remember, I look up at the moon, and I'm just I want a distraction, I want to be over my ex, I just want someone, I was I just want a rebound. And I know it's crazy to think that because, I'm not one for, a rebound, a re-biscuit or anything like that, but, it was just crazy because, again, I'm not one for that, I'm not like that. I don't want to be a rebound, and I don't want a rebound, well, now I don't. But yeah, so it was just so crazy for me to be thinking like this, and I think the reason why I wanted it to be like this, I didn't want anything serious. I didn't want, to drag a guy with me and just, make him, just whatever. I just wanted something simple, I guess, easy, I guess. So yeah. So anyways, another thing, when I am heartbroken, I act like the drunk girl in the bathroom where she's really, really nice to you, and she thinks you're really super duper pretty and everything. So that's how I am when I'm heartbroken, and I think I was really numb. If you've ever been heartbroken, I think you guys know what I'm talking about. You just have no feelings. Someone can come up to you and punch you in the arm, and you'll just be like, huh, cool. It's just, you're emotionless basically. So I guess that's how I was. So yeah, so anyway, so I go home after that, and I go on social media for the night just to check up on everything and whatever, and there was this guy who messaged me. And little background story on this guy. He actually did go to my school, but I didn't even know he went to my school. I had heard his name before, but I never knew that he went to my school. I just thought, he was just somewhere in the world. So we started talking and everything, and oh, and apparently he was a player. Everyone told me oh, he's such a player, he talks to all these different girls and da da da. So I was challenge accepted. So then what happens is we started talking, and the next morning he sends me this this picture thing, and it was still thinking about you, or I'm thinking about you, or something thinking about you. And I was it hasn't even been 12 hours, what are you doing? So we started talking for about 2 weeks. Now we're in March, and he asks me asks me out. There you go. And I was just like so unsure about it, because I was just kind of like, what am I doing? Like, you know, so I was just kind of, I was like, okay. No, I was like, sure. And he was like, are you sure about that? And I was like, I think so. Like, yeah, you know. And I thought maybe like this would be like a good distraction. It was a messy one, okay? So then you guys already know how prom went. I have a story about that if you guys want to check that out as well. And then afterwards, graduation and whatnot. And I just felt like this dude was like trying to take it to the next level. Like, did he play me? I don't know if he played me, okay? But I had no evidence, like no proof that he did anything. So I really can't say that he did anything. But I remember when the day after he asked me out, I remember I went to school and I was like telling all my friends or whatever, and I think they definitely were like, what's wrong with you? Like, what are you doing? And I told them, I was like, he's just a rebound, like it's nothing serious, like just chill, like I got this, I got this, I got this. So I remember I was telling this one girl this, and she looked like she had just seen a ghost. Like she like held her heart and like her eyes started to water, and she was like, yeah, I know him. And I was like, oh, I was like, okay. And then she's like, why? I was like, he asked me out. And she's like, he broke my heart, like he used me. And again, this is her side of the story. She was like, he like used her, whatever, and he like stopped talking to her, got what he wanted, and he like left. So in that moment, I remember I was like a light bulb just like went off, and I was just like, karma. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, my name's Karma. And she was like, no, it's not. And I was like, yes, it is. So I was like, look, no girl deserves to be played like this. Like, I hate when dudes are like players. Like, you know, you got played, I feel like any and every girl like ever got played, okay, in some way, shape, or form. So I was like, why not like give them a dose of their own medicine? So she was like, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I have no idea, but I know like I'm gonna play the player. And then she was like, how are you gonna do that? And I was like, girl, you asking too many questions. Like, I don't even know, like, okay, what's about to happen, so just chill. So then what happens is, you know, okay, so that's what happened, and then prom, and then so on and so forth, and blah, 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 blah. So I just felt like this dude was like trying to take it to like the whole, like the next level, and I'm not even on the same video game as him, so like it's just kind of like, what are you trying to do here, okay? So I remember I tried to break up with him. I believe I tried to break up with him like a few times, but there was just one time where I was just kind of like, okay, here's the thing. Back in the day, I could not break up with guys because I just always felt like that was like bad karma to me, which by the way, karma did get me in this situation, so you need to chillax, okay? I just always felt like if I break up with a guy, like that would be bad karma. Like if I really liked a guy, like, you know, he'd like break up with me or whatever. So I remember like I tried to pick an argument out with him for him to be wrong, so that way like I would have the right to leave. Like I know. So we start arguing and whatnot, and then he was like, here's my social media, and he gives me this one social media thing, and I go on it, and he's talking to like 500 plus girls. I didn't go through all of them, so I don't know if he was like talking to any of them like when he was like talking to me or whatnot. So there's that. But I did click on this one conversation, and he was talking to this girl, and he had told me something that happened in his life and like how it happened, and then he was telling her like the same exact thing, except he told her like a different way before the outcome. So I was just so confused because I was like, that's a lie. Like you're telling her something, you're telling me something, like you're lying to either one of us or both of us. So there you go. So we start arguing and whatever, and I was like, this is my ticket out, like this is it, like I'm good. So he was like, no, this is what happens when this happens for this to happen. So he's like trying to explain it to me, so I was like, crap, like I couldn't get away with it. So it was like a few days later, and I remember I was with this girl, and who she knew like everything, like she knew the whole story from 11th grade to now and everything. So she was like, we were hanging out or whatever, and I just started bawling my eyes out, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, like, you know, blah blah blah, like I still am thinking about my ex, and I'm with this, like every nice thing I ever said to this dude, like I was straight up thinking about my ex. Like every time he was in front of me, I would always just like picture like my ex in front of me. Like that's how like obsessed and like sickening this situation was, okay? So then what happens is she's like, okay, calm down, like relax and everything. So she takes my phone and I start like pacing like back and forth, and we start writing like this long text message. Like, I kid you not, it was probably like super, like, it was like one of those like long text messages. So we were like taking stuff out and putting stuff in. She was putting her input, and it was like mostly her input because like I wasn't like in the state of mind to be like, you know, putting any input. Okay, so there's that. So then we send it, and then, well, before she sends it, she was like, you have to promise like you're not gonna text him or anything. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I do have to give him back like a few of his things that he had given me. So she was like, okay, like that's the only time. So we send this, and he kind of like, he doesn't really like blow up my phone or anything, but he kind of like will text me like, I don't know, like 3-4 times a day, and sometimes, and whatnot, and I would like not answer. Like, I would just be like, kind of thing, like not answering, you know. So he finally was like, oh, am I taking you to your friend's graduation party? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, when, where, and so I gave him everything. So then he was like, okay, so here comes the day, and you guys can just imagine, like, I'm just so incredibly awkward, like, with this. Like, I just don't do breakups. Like, that's just not me, okay? So we're in the car or whatever, and it's just basic conversations at first. He's like, how are you like, how are you? Like, what's up? Like, what's new or whatever? And I was just like, nothing. So I go to my friend's house, and, you know, the graduation, whatever. I'm not even there for like 30 minutes, and he's just like, I gotta go. So I was like, just go, and like, whatever. And he was like, no, like, we still have to talk. So I'm like, dang. So he comes to get me again, and on my way back, I give him back his stuff, and he's like, so what's gonna happen? Or like, okay, he was like, what's gonna happen here? So I give him back the stuff, and I was like, look, I was like, came kind of clean, and I was just like, I have to deal with myself. I have some personal issues that I have to deal with. I was like, you know, I thought I had everything figured out, and I don't. Like, I have nothing figured out. Like, I just don't know what I want. Like, there's just so many things going on, and I can't handle like this right now, like, you know. So I was just like, I don't really see like a future. Like, I just don't see us being together, like, you know. And I know y'all can be like, oh my god, girl, you said this to a guy. Yes, I know, thumbs up for that. Okay, but anyways, so yeah, and that was that. Gave him back stuff. We never talked ever again. So there's that. I think my advice in this case would probably be don't drag another person into a situation. Don't drag another person's feelings into a situation. And you guys are gonna be like, oh, you should practice what you preach. Girl, I know, I am doing it, okay? But that's the thing, you know, if you're like, oh, like, well, I don't care about this person, or I kind of like them, or I mean, you know, I'm trying to take things slow and whatever. But that's the thing, like, if you're unsure of a person, that right there is your answer. If you're unsure of a person, if you're like, oh, I kind of like the person, you kind of don't like the person, just don't like them, okay? Because you're dragging a person's feelings in, and I think that's the most like meanest thing you can do. And karma is a real thing, like, you know, whether you believe in it or not, I strongly do believe karma's out there. Again, karma did get me for the situation. So yeah, I mean, if you like someone, you like them. If you don't like them, you don't like them. Like, there's no back and forth. And especially if you're not over your ex, like, you definitely have to take time. Like I said, it almost took me like 2 years or so, like, to get over this dude from 11th grade. So you take all the time you need. And I know, like, I said this before in like previous videos of mine, like, oh, give yourself time. That's the thing, you should give yourself time. Like, I honestly didn't give myself time. I let myself go. I was, you know, just like, ugh, like, let me be. You can let yourself be, but you're gonna regret that later on in life. You know, you want to be happy, and you want to be happy with yourself, especially with yourself, because you're always with yourself, you know. So if you are not over your ex, you are not over them, you know. Watch my videos over and over again until you're over them. So yeah, so if you're not over your ex, you're not over them. You know, don't drag other people in. I don't believe in that whole, like, to get over someone, you have to get under someone. No, because while you're under them, you're going to be thinking about the person that you're not over. See? And that's just nasty. Ugh. Ugh. Anyways, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope, you know, you guys respect the fact that I am being real with you guys and not just BSing you. And I know I make all these stories about all these bad guys and stuff, but, you know, sometimes, hey, everybody makes mistakes, and you just learn and you grow from them and you move on. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!